And again, the beam is to see what's touching what. This is not about interpretation, just to show you the mechanics of how you can work with a chart on higher levels and higher frequencies. So if you put the first and the second magnitude together, you get 20 stars around the chart. There are 20 main stars. And you wouldn't see so much the transits going to it. You can see its position, that it might have an influence on the natal chart in some way, as a symbol or something. I find the constellations have more metaphorical implications, but the stars are there like this. But when you're taking progressions, they can become incredibly valuable. So this first, second, third magnitude stars, so we put the three of them together, start to get a little bit more spread. There's still areas in the chart where there's no main stars to the first zero, first and second magnitude. There's still groupings and empty areas. And we add the third magnitude to it. It gets even more full, but even here, there's stars. Probably there's groupings where there may be 5 or 10 degrees and 5 or 7 degrees, 10 degrees, 8, maybe 10 degrees in some place where there's no stars, and there's still gaps, and places where there's 4 or 5 stars all in the same degree. It's just the texture of the stars. These are the stars. You can see up to the 6th magnitude. If you have great eyes, you can see up to 6th magnitude. Most people can see to the 5th magnitude, and the 6th is only if you've got great eyesight, which I don't. But this is the first 4 magnitudes. Now there's something in almost every degree, but there's a few places where there's 2 or 3 degrees where still no star is there. And there's groupings, and this builds up. So this goes on. We had the 5th magnitude, everything up to the 5th magnitude, all the stars you can see in the sky, there they are. It's about 745 of them altogether. So you look at this and say, whoa, but it's a unique pattern. There's every little part has different connections, different stars, different colors, different energies, different distances. Oh yeah, so when the stars are being put in here, the further the line's going out, the further away, the longer the line, the further away the star is. You know how many light years or how far away it is to get to that star. And the ones that are really close to the band on the inside, those are the near stars that are very nearby to the Earth, relatively speaking. So this is just has the 5 stars and the beams on it, so you can start to see what's involved in this, what comes up. And then this adds a few 6 magnitude stars that were more known or talked about, and so this has the whole shebang of the charts. So there's 2 way up on top, and there's some really close, and the galaxy which goes through the Milky Way goes through the Sagittarius, Scorpio, and the Gemini. But you can see how they pile up there in intensity. Now, I was gonna, when I started working with the color in the chart forms in the 80s, I wanted to put a chart with all the galaxies in it, so you can see where the galaxies and the difference are. And by the time I got to actually sitting down to do it, and I went to get the list of galaxies, there was suddenly 6 million galaxies. Well, come on, what can you do? So there was too many to differentiate. So that's on another level of computer program to see which galaxies are where. I mean, maybe you could cut down the best 100 out of 6 million, but it's still work to do that. So, okay, this is just the basic chart with everything, all the stars on it, all the positions put in. And then if you go look up close now, this is a little close-up shot of some of the stars. And in the stars, you see the big black one there. That's the first magnitude star. That one's Alpha Centauri. You see the second one is just almost, it's all black, but it's not quite as big. That's the first magnitude stars. Okay, then you'll have the green with the 6 lines and a dot in the center. That's the second magnitude. The blue is the third magnitude. The orange is the, where are we here now? They're missing something, fifth. And the sixth is the sixth is, I think I may have done the sixth in orange too. Anyways, each one has its own different shape for the star, light and light and dark green. For fifth, then it goes to sixth, fifth, that's sixth. They put them in now. Also, when you know, and the lines all go down to a degree in the, see, they're put into the degrees of the sidereal zodiac where they're fixed, but the lines extend so you can see them moving through the degrees of at the tropical zodiac. You can see what degrees of the tropical zodiac they're in, and they would be there for, it's 72 years to change the degrees. So for 40, 50 years, they're within that realm. So you can see where you see a planet in a certain degree, you can really see how it's connected to the stars and how it's moving through this texture. So one more thing on these. There's always one more thing. You'll see some stars have these dots beside it. Like here's this first magnitude star that has an orange dot and a green dash. There's a blue star up here that has the red dot about 1 o'clock. The other blue star beside has a green one down at, like just down at the bottom around 7. And the other green one has one over like, around 5. So their positions around the wheel. So some of them have 2 dots. These are the codes for the rulerships. They give you some stars. We have astrological rulerships, because of the light, because of what their position, because of constellation, and they have meanings that are given meanings that are they're giving rulerships by certain planets. The star is more of a Mercury, Mars type star. The star is a Venus, Jupiter star. The star is a Saturn, Mercury star. The star, they don't have them like the sun or the moon, but they have them to the planets as rulerships. So the rulerships, whenever there's a rulership of star, they're put in on this. They get a little crowded, so they're not so easy to see, but they can be there. Like this green one here in Scorpio has a red dot down here and a yellow one up top, both on the right-hand side. All of these things mean things, and they're part of the coding to understand more about what the star does. So this is the code for the stars. We're going to come around to this a bit more, but you can get the generally just a bit here. If you have a star, there's either going to be a 6-pointed star, there'll be 6 lines, but each of these divisions, if it's in the first section, if there's a dot there, it would mean it's a moon, it's ruled by the moon. There is some ruled by the moon. If it's on the left-hand side, there it would be ruled by Mercury. If it's a dot there, it would be ruled by Venus. This top part. If it's now modern people, some stars have been, by some astrologers, have been given Neptune, Uranus, Pluto rulership. Most of the traditional ones haven't been. So if it's up in this 1 o'clock area, like it would be Mars. If it's beside on the right, it's a Jupiter. And if the dot's on the bottom on the right, it's a Saturn rule. So you can, by having dots in this section, you can see which, it goes from the left to right around Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Those are your rulerships. And if it's a solid line, it's the primary first one. And the second star sometimes is the second rulership. It's given a dash in whatever area it would be. So this is showing you the different magnitudes: first magnitude, second magnitude, third magnitude, fourth magnitude, fifth, and sixth. The different for the lines on the graph, how each star had to be calculated, put in, drawn in, made. You don't do this if you're not totally obsessed. I look back now and think, oh my goodness. But I had to see it. I had to know. And it wasn't acceptable to leave it there. Once I saw it, it took years and years of time to do this. But here is a star ruled by Mercury, Jupiter. So the rulership would be the first magnitude is the Mercury in the Mercury section. Then you go Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and the dash over the Jupiter section. The second one, second magnitude is Mars, Saturn. So Venus, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars is up there. There's the Mars rulership. Jupiter, there's the Saturn rulership down here. Next one's Venus, Moon. So you see Moon, Mercury, Venus, there's a dot, and the slash is where Venus is, or where the Moon is. So the Venus is up top. So there's a code to each one. This one will be the Moon to Mars. This one will be Saturn to Mercury. This one will be Jupiter to Mercury. So what in tradition, what stars were given associations, I tended to keep them and put them in. There's a lot that haven't, and part of the work I wanted to do was take the color table, because now they have colors and color combinations, color scales, spectrums for all stars. And it's just a matter of decoding it and decoding those colors and put them into each stars, where you can make a more complete rulership based on chemical composition of the star. But that's sitting there. I don't know if I'll ever get to that, but it's one of the potentials. So then we come back and we look at the chart, and we say, see, well, there's a lot more here. Once you have it and you zoom in, you can zoom into any area and you start to really see details. It's not like we're just looking at a straight chart. We got computers, we can move in. We're in a different literacy, different way of working. But this chart is the original chart you did with the colored rays. Each planet sending off a colored ray, so you get the colored pattern for the aspects, a different feeling for it. And then those colorings, like a planet is the energy, it's colored by the sign it's in, and it expresses itself into the house it's in, and it does it easy or difficultly according to the aspects. So the moods of the aspects are the textures of stress that affect that planet. Some will have more red, some will have more blue, some will, like here there's a lot of yellow and red, orange. Different kind of stress than if it were purple and blue. But this developed a whole nother thing, another insight that comes out of this. It's not here yet. This is so that was the color chart. This was the color chart with constellations. So these are interchangeable. You can have the different types of patterns in the center, whether stars or constellations go on the outside in making of these forms. There's several you can get done. So this is this traditional chart. Now it has the correct ascendant, early Aquarius, but it has the constellations within it and the regular aspects, the standard aspect area and our aspect coloring in the center. But okay, here's where if you just took the center, if you took out all the astrology, you took away the houses, you took away the signs, you took away the planets, what's left? The aspects. And the aspects have their own pattern. I like to call these the cosmic Rorschach test, you know, the of destiny, like not just the ink blot, but here's the solar system, the universe is making these patterns, and leaving stamps, and everyone's tremendously unique. This is a bigger blow up of it. So you can take it and just have the pattern type and just have that. Well, it's just another dimension, another way of looking in and seeing. When you start comparing people's charts and you look at these things, these are valid things to compare between people, just the whole pattern type. And it becomes even more so when you're using the colored pattern, which is the ones that really inspired this. So when you go from the colored chart to the colored pattern type, here we go, it goes there, it's got a bigger one. Here's Carl Jung's cosmic Rorschach test, the cosmic stamp, this logo. We'll take it without the signs, without the planets, without the houses, just the aspects and the energy patterns between everything, just the stress factors. And there's this kind of almost like a 5-pointed star there. A lot of yellow. It has this very unique type of personality. I wouldn't even call it personality, it's just energy, his way of doing things. How could all this Leo energy just follow and be the student of someone else without breaking away to shine himself?